Okay, this is a good one, actually, because it says there's a walkway that forms a diagonal of a square playground. So let's draw that square playground. And we don't know what the side length measures, so let's just call the side length x. And then what's the side length? This is also x, right? Because it's square. So when it says there's a diagonal where the walkway is, like this, essentially what do we have then? Um, if they want to know, if they say that the walkway is 24 meters long, and they want to know how long is the side of the playground, then we can, even though it's a square, we're seeing a square, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the portions of the square that are not relevant to us, because we really want to be treating this right now like a triangle to find that length. Okay? So yeah, it's a square, but we're looking for that length. Now, we know that it's a square, so what does that imply? That implies that we have a right angle down here. So it's a right triangle, and we can treat it as such with an a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Well, what is a? What is the side length? X. Okay, so what does that mean for us? Well, we would say that that is the side length, the leg of the triangle squared, plus the other leg of the triangle squared equals the length of the hypotenuse squared. What's x squared plus x squared? Well, x squared is the term that it is. How many of them are here? Well, here there's one, here there's another, for a total of two of them. So we have 2x squared here. And that's equal to whatever 24 squared is. And 24 squared is 576. Okay? Now, if I want to solve for x, the first thing that I want to do is I want to divide both sides by 2, because right now we have 2x squared, and I just want to get it down to x squared. We do 576 divided by 2, and what we find out is that x squared is equal to 288. Okay. Now, we want to square root both sides, so the square root of x squared and the square root of 288. Square root of x squared is x. And how does 288 break down? 288 breaks down into the square root of what numbers? So I'm going to do this over here on the side. I'm going to do it actually inside the triangle. Let's zoom in on it. Why not? And let's just say we're looking at, what is it? 288. And how do we break it down? So I'm going to do 288 and do a factor tree for it. I can see that it's a multiple of 2. So I'm going to do 2 times 144. Hey, that's nice, because I know that 144 is 12 times 12. And that breaks down into 3 times 4. It breaks down into 2 times 2. And the same way, this breaks down into 3 times 4. And that is 2 times 2. Okay? So shrinking that back down. Sorry, I know it's funny when I shrink in and out. It's probably a little disorienting as you're watching it. How does that break down? Well, it breaks down into, how many 2's did we get in there? We got 5 2's and 2 3's. So that is, and actually I'm going to zoom in here to write it a little bit smaller because I'm afraid we're going to run out of space. But let's count it over here. Over here, we've got, just to count it all off, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 2's. Sorry, I already crossed that out. 5 2's and 2 3's. So when I write this in here, I'm going to write 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3. Okay, I just wanted to have it small enough that I had the room to fit it all. So what do we do when we square root? We need to see a number inside twice before we can bring it out once. So I see a pair of 2's to bring out once. And let's do it. Let's say then x equals, what do we bring out just now? We brought out a 2. Now what else can we bring out? We can bring out these 2's times 2. And what else can we bring out? We can bring out these 3's. as another times 3. Well, what's left inside? Well, you can see that there is a 2 left inside. That doesn't have a match, so we got to leave it inside. And what we get is x equals 12 root 2. And we could actually calculate that. Now, did you have to do this? Well, I wanted to show you that because it's always important to be able to come up with the exact number. And I'm going to box that out. But technically, no, we didn't need to do that technically because right here at this stage, when it said x squared is 288, then we know that x, when we square root it, is the square root of 288. So if you take your calculator and you type in square root of 288, what do you get? Grab the calculator. Square root of 288. And when I hit equal, I get 16.97. So they're really asking us to round it to the nearest meter. So I'm going to write x is approximately equal to 17 meters. And that's actually what I want to have as an answer because, again, what did they ask us? They asked us to the nearest meter how long is the side of the playground. So this answer that's boxed out in green isn't really sufficient for us to understand what is that to the nearest meter. So that's the perfect way of doing it. But really up here at this point when it says x squared is 288, all you have to do is say then x is whatever the square root of 288 is rounded to the nearest whole number meter. So